जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जसोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। जसोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। जसोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जमुना तीर वनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radha. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Prahlad Simha, Jaya Prahlad Simha, Prahlad Simha, Jaya Prahlad Simha, Jaya Prahlad Simha, Prahlad Simha, Jaya Prahlad Simha. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara-Shri Hai Shivan Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Harantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Navshtaprayesha Badhesho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavadithama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter number 14, text number 41. Tada tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Anishyati Avatiryaso Avatiryaso Hanishyati Avatiryaso Hanishyati Avatiryaso Yata Yatadrin Tataparva Drik Yatadrin Shataparva Drik Yatadrin Shataparva Drik Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryasa Yatadrin Shataparvatru Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryasa Yatadrin Shataparvatru Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryaso Yatadrin Shataparvatru Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryaso Yatadrin Shataparvatru Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryaso Yatadrin Shataparvatru Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddho Bhagavan Lokabhavanaha Haneshwati Avatiryaso Yatadrin Shataparvatru. Word meaning. Tada, at that time, Vishwaishwaraha, the Lord of the universe, Kruddhaha, in great anger, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lokabhavanaha, desiring the welfare of the people in general, Hanishyati will kill. Avathirya, descending himself. Also, he. Yatha, as if. Yadrin, the mountains. Shataparvadra, the control of the thunderbolt. Indra. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. At that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all the living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts. Translation with the repetition. At that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, the Lord descends as an incarnation to deliver the devotees and kill the miscreants. The Lord of the universe and of everything would appear. The Lord of the universe and everything would appear to kill the son of Diti because of their offending the devotees of the Lord. There are many agents of the Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Goddess Durga, and Kali, who can chastise any formidable miscreants in the world. The example of mountains being smashed by the thunderbolt is very appropriate. The mountain is considered to be most strongly built body within the universe, yet it can be easily smashed by the arrangement of Supreme Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to descend in order to kill any strongly built body. He comes down just for the sake of his devotees. Everyone is subject to the miseries offered by material nature. But because the activities of the miscreants, such as killing innocent people and animals or torturing the women, are harmful to everyone and are therefore a source of pain for the devotees, the Lord comes down, he descends, only to give relief to his ardent devotees. The killing of miscreants by the Lord is also the mercy of the Lord towards the miscreants. Although apparently the Lord takes the side of devotees, since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his activities of killing the miscreants and favoring the devotees. This ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshadarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. the chapter Pregnancy of Dithi in the evening. This is the chapter is going on. Here in this shloka it said, Tada Vishveshwaraha Kruddaha. Tada, at that time, Vishveshwara, the Lord of the universe, Kruddaha, when he is great anger, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lokabhavanaha, who is desiring for the welfare of the people in general, Lokabhavanaha, Hanishati Avatirya Saw, he will kill Avatarishya, descending himself. How he will kill? The comparison is given. Yadadrin, how Adri, the mountains. Sataparvatrik, Sataparva means who's having the thunderbolt. Vajrayudh, the Indra able to smash the strong mountain. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will kill. Whom will kill? The background is given. Tada, at that time. So, my Kashyapa Muni speaking to Dithi after inauspicious time, progeny. The progeny is happening in inauspicious time. Because already we have discussed about the Dithi is forced at the Kashyapa Muni inappropriate time for the begetted child. So Kashyapa is telling, you are the unfortunate lady, woman. Oh, unfortunate woman. Because why he is telling unfortunate woman? Because she approached for the Shri Radha Krishna Drakshita Gaurang Shri Prabhupada. He approached for a child to her husband. She was highly contaminated by the sex desires. So, sex desire contamination mean because as per the Vedic perspective, sex desire for begetting a cultured child. So she is overwhelmed with the sex desire and her mind is polluted at the time. And she was not considering the time because that time was inauspicious. And she is not also listening to the advice of her husband, who is the guru, who is the guide for, the husband is the guide for the wife. She not listening the advice of the Kashyapa Muni. And also she not caring for the demigods because Kashyapa was telling, now the demigod Lord Shiva is walking. You're passing by. So she is neglecting even that. So the 4 mistakes she did that the Kashyapa was telling. And because of that, the progeny is inauspicious. The progeny is going to be beget, is inauspicious. And Kashyapa further is telling, and those inauspicious time what thou condemned womb, because it happened inauspicious, that is the child come out of the condemned womb, there will be disturbance. They will create a lot of disturbance. They will kill poor, faultless living entity and torture the woman and enrage the great souls. The child is inauspicious or uncultured child. The child is not underwent the sanskara. Those children become disturbances. Like how they disturbance, they kill the innocent people, or they trouble the innocent people, and they kill innocent animals also, living entities, and they give trouble to the women, and they also give trouble to the saintly people. And these are the people are deserve protection. Innocent, poor living the poor persons and innocent living entities, then women's and saintly people are considered as a innocent. The innocent people given a protection, and such people not given a protection, and these people will torture all these kind of people tada, that time. So Kashyapa is really, when these people trouble all these category of people, tada, that time, Lord, the Loka Bhavanaha, the Lord who is looking the welfare of the common people in general, will descend and kill these people, and kill this child will come from your womb. So Kashyapa is foretelling to Dithi what are the things going to happen, the children in our womb. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, it states in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, the 8th verse. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनाय संभवामि युगे. So Prabhupada say here, so as Lord is declaring to Arjuna, in order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as re-establish the principle of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. Again and again I'll descend to re-establish the dharma. Ili dharma, I mean re-establish dharma, religious practices. What the topmost religious practice is, the every jiva ultimately looking for the perfection, and there is a disturbance in that perfection. Particularly the saintly people are always trying for the perfection in their life, and such saintly people are not allowed them to practice for the perfection. And particularly because this is the incident of the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, because the great devotee, the Prahlad Maharaj, and many great saintly people are be tortured by Hiranyaksha. And Lord never tolerates. So he is telling, in order to deliver the pious people, and Lord will descend. So Prabhupada is telling, Lord descends as an incarnation to deliver the devotees and kill the miscreants. The Lord of the universe and of the everything would appear to kill the son of Diti because of their offending the devotees of the Lord. So particularly, the Prabhupada is mentioning the offending the devotees of the Lord appears. Otherwise, there are many agents of the Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Goddess, Durga, Kali. All their very much powerful personalities are there. And again, nature itself is so powerful as a Prakriti. And whoever disobey the orders of the Lord, and Prakriti will take care of. So no one able to lord over the external energy of the Lord, which is the Prakriti. Prakriti itself has the complete control over the nature, or every living entity of this nature. So in that case, in that the reason, so Lord, anything to control in this material world, Lord no need to come personally. Prakriti will finish up everyone of his own accord. The Prakriti is very powerful. And still Lord descend. Why Lord descend? Because Prakriti can't deliver the pious people. Delivering the pious people only possible by the Lord and His representative devotees. So, to killing a miscreant, killing a person, lawbreaker, Lord no need to come. Prakriti is self-sufficient to do that. But the one of the important activity, no one else able to do other than the Lord Himself and His representative devotees. That is delivering the people, delivering the pious people. So, particularly Lord is the Prabhupada very clearly say these things. The Lord comes very particularly because He want to protect the devotees, not kill someone is miscreants. Because He is very so Bhakta Vatsala. Lord is a Bhakta Vatsala. Bhakta Vatsala meaning very, very compassion to His devotees. That is the reason, because out of His compassion, Lord will come to deliver. So Lord want to come to see His devotees. Lord want to come to give protection to His devotees. So the Bhagavata is a literature to understand the great affection of the Lord for the common the people, the living entities. The Lord is so, that is the reason the whole purpose Krishna say, all purpose of the Vedic literature ultimately to understand Krishna. Vedai sarvair aham me vedya. So, unless one should understand the Supreme Lord by studying the Vedas or the Vedic literature, or studying or hearing from the great authorities like Acharyas, one not able to understand the Krishna. So one not able to understand the Krishna, one is not understand the Krishna, he cannot develop the natural love for the Krishna. One is not develop the natural love for the Krishna, such a person is not eligible to enter the eternal abode of the Lord, which is a spiritual world. So it is very important to understand the Lord. Lord, how compassionate. Because ultimately, one to enter the spiritual world, you should develop the unflinching faith or love for the Lord. Because the spiritual world is activities, loving relationship with the Lord and His devotees. The whole purpose of the spiritual practices is how I can develop the love for the Krishna. How can I develop the faith on Krishna, complete faith on Krishna? Because nothing is there in this world for me to live or protect me in this world. Ultimately, Lord, only the compassionate personality who is always with me. So I should give up all the attraction or attachment to this material world. When one person able to give up the attachment to the material world, when I have the complete faith in this Lord. So the faith happens even in the material world also. And Krishna says, okay, if a person is having a little faith in the material world, okay, this material world also gives some protection to me. And such person will live back in the material world because he have a little faith. The Lord won't want even that little, because that even a little faith in the material world create a disturbance in his mind. Because the obstacle in this material, the spiritual practice. What is the obstacle in the spiritual practice? The faith in the material world, because there is some enjoyment in the material world. And Prabhupada very clearly is telling, one is distress of the material world, and he will be eligible for the spiritual practices. Then ultimately, that means every moment we should, that is the reason, and the acharyas always denying the material world. That's blasphemy. They blaspheme this material world. The material world is not good. Because it's a common condition living entity. What to think? He never thinks this is not a favorable place for me to live. And that's the reason Krishna continues propagating, or acharyas continues propagating through the Shastra. Why you should develop the detachment to this material world. So that's the reason. So one should study the Vedic literature very thoroughly. The Prabhupada says one should study the Vedic literature very scrutinizedly. You know what I mean? Every shloka, very in detail, we should study. Then you'll understand what this material world is. Then you will understand what is the compassion of the Supreme Lord towards you. How He is eagerly waiting for all of us. So here is the example, how Lord is setting the example through the many histories after histories. When the inauspicious people take birth and create a disturbance in the society, in the people in general, and He'll come and kill them and again re-establish the dharma, and again He'll wind up His leela. So the history of the Lord repeatedly hearing one of the said, okay, building the faith on the Lord. Is building the faith in the Lord is so easy? Just study the Vedas. Or hearing from the acharyas, simply hearing the acharya, but studying the Vedas, one can understand. Building the faith means understand the Krishna. Krishna says, okay, one to understand means complete. Such person is free from birth and death. Jalma karma chame divyam yo veti tattvataha. One who understand in reality, tattvataha. Such person is eligible to come to me. That means one is simply study the Shastra, one can understand that. No, understanding the Lord is again beyond the description of the Shastra. beyond the description of the Shastra. So now what Shastras, okay, hearing the Shastra, reading the Shastra, what happens, okay? Hearing the Shastra, reading the Shastra, we able to understand many rules and regulations in the Shastra. And those rules and regulations in the Shastra, which is called the Vidhi Bhakti, and we apply those rules and regulations, adopt in our life, then following the rules and regulation, he performs some devotion services, Vidhi Bhakti. The Shastras guides us to the Vidhi Bhakti. That's the reason following the rules and regulations are very important. You follow and rules and regulations and perform the Vidhi Bhakti, and that Vidhi Bhakti lead, when you do the Vidhi Bhakti lead to purification, purifies. Unless purify the consciousness, understanding the Lord is not possible. So that is the reason vigorous sadhana is very important for a purification. And purification is the requirement for the spontaneous devotion services. The beginning of the spontaneous bhakti devotion service is complete purification. After the complete purification of the spontaneous devotion starts. So one to come to the platform of the complete purification, one should do the severe sadhana bhakti, Vidhi Bhakti, sadhana bhakti. That's the reason sadhana bhakti is very, very. So in any neophyte, we all are considered the neophyte devotees. For the neophyte devotees, sadhana bhakti is very, very, very important. Vigorous sadhana bhakti, particularly chanting, morning sadhana, and chanting, conscious chanting. Not simply chanting. Simply chanting also a chanting. It have some effect. And conscious chanting of the higher effect. So, okay, we all do chanting. Okay, I promise the spiritual master as we are taking the Diksha, telling, okay, I'll chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. That means stagnant, okay, 16 rounds some chanting. Because Prabhupada don't say there, okay, chanting 16 rounds, how to chant 16 rounds. That particular, okay, chant 16 rounds. Prabhupada chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulatory principles and Bhagavata Shravana, association of the devotee, having prasadam, all these things. And where the Prabhupada is chanting 16 rounds. The Prabhupada not say chanting 16 rounds. Offenses chanting in the beginning, the Prabhupada initially, okay, chanting, okay, maybe there is offenses. For example, if you say the Diksha is for the people who are offenseless chanting, then I think Nannam has going to take the Diksha. So none of them, because not so easy task. So I say, okay, chanting, okay, chant 16 rounds, okay, offensive chanting. But Prabhupada said, okay, you live with offensive chanting throughout your spiritual life. No. My continuous endeavor, how can I avoid the offenses? Very, very conscious in chanting. When you're chanting, I'll be very, very conscious in my chanting. Am I chanting and hearing the Hare Krishna mantra properly? Is my mind is roaming here and there other than the chanting? I'll be very, very conscious. If you very consciously do the chanting, the very vigorously, the purification of the consciousness, the soul happens, because soul is contaminated. The whole purpose of spiritual practice is purify your consciousness. The contamination of consciousness, we do all the nonsense things. Purified consciousness will do all the auspicious things. favorable for the Krishna. Meaning, when you purify your consciousness, every activities are pure. That's what happened. That's what the Shastra says. Okay, Mahabhagavatas, no need to follow any rules and regulations. That means, okay, Mahabhagavatas can do the mistakes to the Bhagavatam because Mahabhagavatas are purified their consciousness. In the purified consciousness, never ever happens the mistakes. Easy, okay. One want to protect oneself, okay. One should come to the platform of purified consciousness. When the purified consciousness, then we are always safety. Otherwise, in contaminated consciousness, many times, okay, up and down, okay. Sometime I'll do some good things. Sometime my mind will contaminate, is carried away by some ill activities, which is not favorable for Krishna conscious. These all the things keep on happening up and down in spiritual practices. That's the reason we some come to the platform of complete purification and never ever do the mistakes. And such person will, in one side, we experience the spiritual happiness, so that he is never ever hankering for the material pleasure. So whenever the hankering for this material pleasure, there are the sins. Because of the sins, again fall down, all the series of activities happening. Because one is experiencing the spiritual, such person is never ever hankering for the material pleasure, never ever do the sinful activities. And he is highly protected, he will be completely protected. So for us also it's a journey. So this is an example and set by the acharyas. We also desirous to, I should also come to that level and completely protect it. How completely protected? Vigorous sadhana practices. And because of the vigorous practices, some degree of purification. Because of some degree of the purification, not allow us to do the major sinful activities, because we are not be attracted to the material enjoyment. And the way, step by step, we'll go towards the complete purification. And that's the reason Acharya has given many of the practices follow in spiritual journey, like one is chanting 60 rounds, getting up early in the morning for the Mangala Arati. So last time I was discussing about this. I think the Mangala Arati is very important, because attending a Mangala Arati means Brahma Murta time. If you do anything in the Brahma Murta, what the effect? And in other Brahma Murta means full Sattvagun. Is Sattvagun practice of the spirituality, Rajogun practice the spirituality, makes a lot of difference. So that's the reason Prabhupada repeatedly telling about, today quote also Prabhupada was telling him, the Vedic treasure tells about the rise earning, the people, so materialistic people think that what is nonsense getting early in the morning and chant. The people may think. But the Shastra repeatedly telling. Because where you do the sadhana, you take the best benefit, advantage of that. I mean, best profit of it. For example, spend 1 hour time. That 1 hour time, how much productive things I have to take out. That is best you will get in the Brahma Murta time. So 1 hour of chanting in the Brahma Murta, 1 hour of chanting in the other time makes a big. So I want a more. If you are a very productive person, you are looking for good profit. Then you want a good profit person look for, okay, how much I can take best of the profit. That's available in the Brahma Murta time. That means the product for or fruit for the spiritual practitioner is the spiritual gain. And I should think that how I can get the best spiritual gain. That is a Brahma Murta. Then he will eagerly looking for, okay, for example, a businessman. You look for, okay, how can get the best of the profit, maximum profit through what investment or what endeavor I can get the best profit. You always eagerly looking for that. Similarly, a spiritual practice eagerly looking for from which I can get the best spiritual benefit.
So we should be very, very serious in spiritual practice. Okay, I should get up early in the morning and practice my chanting, everything in the early morning, the Brahma Muhurta time. So I can derive the best benefit of it. So one do like that. Such people are the sadhus. So one do the vigorous spiritual practice is called sadhu. And such sadhus will be protected by the Lord all the time. That's what you say. That sadhus, always, the Lord is compassionate to Bhakta Vatsala, compared to those sadhus, He gives the protection. For us, the Lord will give the spiritual protection. Someone is seriously practicing, and Lord will give the spiritual protection for them. So we are always looking for such by practicing vigorously and faithful to the Lord and great acharyas and guru. One should seriously in spiritual practice so that we are able to progress in our spiritual life very vigorously. So sadhanas are very, very important for them. Okay, I'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki